The battlefield was silent. The war was over, but the land still smelled of fire, smoke, and blood. Broken ships lay across the ground like dead giants. The earth was black and scarred, as if the world itself wanted to forget what happened here. Lone human walked among the ruins. His name was Ethan Cole, a soldier who had survived when so many others had not. His boots crunched over shattered glass and twisted metal. He was not searching for treasure nor orders. He searched for answers, and maybe forgiveness. Ethan carried a small lamp. Its light shook with every step. Around him, shadows stretched, across broken walls and burned trees. The silence was heavy, almost alive. At times he thought he heard whispers, strange sounds carried by the wind. He stopped listening, but there was nothing. Only silence. Only ghosts. He knew he should leave. The war was finished, and his commanders had already moved on. But something, deep inside, pulled him forward. Something told him there was still one last secret hidden here. Then, he heard it. A sound so faint he thought at first it was the wind. But no, it was different. It was soft, weak, a cry, a living cry. Ethan froze. His heart beat faster. No one should be alive here, human or alien. The war had destroyed everyone caught in this place. Yet the sound came again, clearer this time. A small voice, trembling with pain. Ethan followed it, stepping carefully through the ruins. His lamp flickered across a half-collapsed alien ship, its walls glowing faintly with strange purple veins. He ducked under bent metal and crawled through broken corridors until he reached a chamber half buried in the dirt. And there, he saw it. It was small, cracked, and covered in dust, but faint blue light pulsed from inside. The surface was scratched as if someone had tried to break out, and from within, he heard the cry again. Ethan's breath caught. His hands shook as he reached forward. He wiped dirt from the glass. Inside lay a girl. Not human. Alien. Her skin was pale silver, marked with glowing lines that ran like rivers across her arms and face. Her hair floated weightless inside the pod, shining faintly like threads of starlight. Her eyes were closed, but her lips trembled, whispering words in a language Ethan did not know. He stepped back in shock. He had heard stories of the alien queen's bloodline, the princess, the daughter who was said to have died when the war reached its final battle. No one had ever found her body. Most believed she had been destroyed with the Queen's flagship, but now Ethan stood before her, alive, weak, dying. His mind spun. He knew what humans would do if they found her. To them, she was not a child. She was a weapon, a symbol of the enemy. If Ethan reported this, the army would take her away, study her, maybe even execute her. To protect humanity, they would say. He looked again at the pod, at the fragile girl inside. She was no warrior, no monster. She was just a child caught in a war she never chose. The pod's lights flickered. The life support was failing. If he walked away now, she would die within minutes. Ethan stood frozen, torn between duty and something deeper. He remembered the faces of children back on Earth. Innocent eyes that never saw war. He remembered why he once became a soldier, not for blood, not for glory, but to protect life. And now, here was life. He clenched his fists. He knew what choice he had to make. Ethan dropped his lamp and pulled at the pod's cracked frame. Metal screeched as he forced it open. The stale air rushed out, carrying a faint glow. The girl gasped, her chest rising weakly. Her eyelids fluttered. And then, she opened her eyes. Ethan's breath caught. Her eyes glowed like molten silver, filled with fear and power. She looked at him as though she could see through his soul. Her lips moved, forming words he did not understand. Then, in broken human tongue, she whispered, "They will come for me." The pod's lights went dark. Silence fell once more. But now Ethan knew the truth. The war was not finished, because the Queen's daughter still lived. The ruins were never safe at night. Shadows moved differently after sunset, and the silence grew sharper, like the world was holding its breath. Ethan knew this. He had stayed in war zones long enough to understand one truth: the dark hides enemies. But now, the dark hid something else. Inside a broken human shelter, beneath layers of cracked stone, he had hidden the alien girl. Her pod was destroyed, but she still lived. She lay wrapped in Ethan's worn jacket, breathing weakly, her silver markings glowing faintly like dying embers. Ethan sat across from her, his rifle resting by his side. He listened carefully. Above them, footsteps echoed from time to time. Patrols, sometimes human, sometimes alien. Both searched these ruins. Both hunted survivors. And if they found her, she was finished. Ethan leaned against the wall, his eyes on the girl. She stirred in her sleep, her lips moving as if she spoke to someone in dreams. Words in her alien tongue filled the air, soft, melodic, yet sharp at the edges. Ethan frowned. He did not understand her language, but the sound carried weight. Like warnings, like memories. The girl suddenly gasped and sat up. Her silver eyes opened wide, glowing faintly in the darkness. She looked around with fear, then fixed her gaze on Ethan. "You," she whispered, her voice still weak. Ethan raised his hand slowly, trying to calm her. "Easy. You're safe here." Her eyes narrowed. "Human." The word sounded like poison on her tongue. Ethan nodded. He didn't lie. "Yes, human, but I'm not your enemy." The girl pressed herself against the wall, her markings glowing brighter. For a moment, Ethan thought she might attack, but her strength faded, and she slumped back down, coughing. He moved closer, pulling a canteen from his pack. He held it out. "Water. Drink." Her eyes studied him for a long moment, then her trembling hand reached forward. She drank slowly, her gaze never leaving his face. When she finished, she whispered something, a single word. Ethan frowned, not understanding. She tried again, this time in broken human speech. "Liara." Her name. Ethan nodded. "Liara." She closed her eyes for a moment, almost relieved. Then she spoke again, her voice sharp despite weakness. "You should not have saved me. They will come." Ethan leaned forward. "Who will come?" Her silver eyes opened. They glowed brighter in the dark. "Hunters, human, alien, both. They want me dead, or worse." Ethan's chest tightened, so she knew. She understood what her survival meant. He asked softly, "Why? Who are you to them?" For a moment she stayed silent. Then with a trembling voice she answered, "Daughter of the Queen. Last blood." Ethan sat back. The truth was out. He had guessed it, but hearing her say it made it real. This was no ordinary child. She was the heir of an alien empire, the one every army wanted, and she was here depending on him. Suddenly, Liara's eyes widened. She pressed her hand to the ground as if listening. Ethan frowned. "What is it?" she whispered. "Voices." Ethan froze. He heard nothing. The ruins were silent. But Liara's face was tense, her markings glowing stronger. "They are close," she said. "They search. For me." Ethan grabbed his rifle, moving to the cracked doorway. He peered outside. The night was dark, broken only by the faint light of a ruined city in the distance, and then movement. Figures. A group of human soldiers crept through the rubble, their armor glowing with scanner lights. One of them held a device, sweeping it left and right. Ethan's stomach dropped. A signal detector. They were searching for alien energy, and Liara glowed like a beacon. Ethan hurried back. "Stay down, don't make a sound." But Liara shook her head. Her eyes closed. She pressed both hands to her chest and her markings blazed. Ethan panicked. "Stop, they'll see." Then he noticed. The scanner light outside flickered. The soldier tapped it, confused. He swung it around, but the signal had vanished. The glowing trail was gone. Ethan turned back to Liara. Her eyes were still closed, sweat dripping down her face. She whispered. They cannot see me. Not now. Ethan stared. She wasn't just royalty. She had powers, strange psychic abilities, that could bend machines, twist signals. Outside, the soldiers muttered in frustration, then moved on. Their footsteps faded into the night. Only when silence returned did Liara open her eyes again. She looked pale, exhausted. Ethan knelt beside her. You hid yourself. She nodded weakly. Yes, but not for long. They will keep searching. And they will not stop. Ethan looked at her, torn between fear and awe. He had saved her life, but now he realized what that meant. Keeping her alive meant becoming a target for both armies. Liara's voice broke the silence. You should leave me. If they find me, you die too. Ethan shook his head. Not a chance. I already made my choice. She looked at him for a long time, searching his face. Finally, her lips curved into something faint, almost like the shadow of a smile. You are strange. For a human. Ethan gave a short laugh, shaking his head. You have no idea. But deep down, his heart pounded. Because she was right about one thing. They would come. Hunters, soldiers, mercenaries. And if Liara was truly the Queen's daughter, then the entire war had not ended. It had only changed shape. The ruins were quiet again, but Ethan knew the silence was false. It was the kind of silence that comes before a storm, heavy and waiting. He sat against the cracked wall, rifle across his lap, eyes fixed on the dark doorway. Liara lay nearby. Her silver glow dimmed to almost nothing. She looked fragile, like a candle struggling against the wind. But Ethan remembered what she had done the night before. She had bent a soldier's scanner, erased her own signal. That was no fragile child's trick. That was power. And power always drew hunters. The sound came first, boots on stone, steady and careful. Ethan tensed. He raised his rifle, but Liara's hand gripped his arm. Her silver eyes were wide. Not yet, she whispered. Listen. Ethan strained his ears. At first, only footsteps. Then, voices. They're here somewhere, a man muttered. Scanner picked up a trace before it broke, another said. A third voice, calm and cold. Check every ruin. No mistakes. Command wants the target alive. Ethan's stomach twisted. Alive. They knew Liara was here. He dragged her deeper into the shelter, pressing her against the wall. Stay quiet. Liara shook her head, whispering. They know. They feel me. They won't stop. Ethan risked a glance outside. Shadows moved across the rubble. 5 soldiers armored and armed. The leader held a new scanner, larger, glowing green. Its light swept across the ruins like a hunting eye. The beam landed on Ethan's shelter. The scanner beeped. Signal, the leader barked. Ethan's blood ran cold. He turned to Liara. Can you hide it again? Her face was pale. Not this one. Stronger, smarter. The soldiers advanced. Boots crushed stone. Rifles raised. Ethan cursed under his breath. He checked his rifle. Only 3 shots left. Not enough. Not against 5. The first soldier reached the doorway. Ethan's finger tightened on the trigger, but before he could fire, Liara stood. Her eyes blazed silver, brighter than ever before. Ethan hissed, "Whoa, what are you doing?" Then he heard it. Voices. Not the soldiers' voices, different, strange. A chorus of whispers filled the air, sharp and cold. The soldiers froze at the doorway, their scanner flickering wildly. One clutched his head, screaming. Another dropped his rifle, eyes rolling back. Liara's voice rose, soft but commanding, in her alien tongue. The whispers grew louder, rapping, around the soldiers like invisible chains. Ethan stared in shock. She wasn't just bending machines. She was bending minds. The soldiers staggered, confused, some firing wildly into the ruins. Bullets cracked stone above Ethan's head. He dragged Liara back down, shaking her. "Stop, you'll bring the whole squad down on us." Liara gasped, her glow fading. The whispers cut off. Silence slammed back into the ruins. The soldiers stumbled, dazed but alive. The leader roared, "They're inside! Move!" Gunfire erupted. Ethan fired back, his shots forcing them to duck. Behind cover. Dust and stone filled the air. Liara crouched low, trembling, her power spent. Ethan grabbed her arm. "We have to move. Now." He pulled her through a broken wall, crawling into a narrow tunnel beneath the ruins. Bullets chased them, sparks flying off stone. The tunnel shook with every explosion. They crawled until the gunfire faded behind them. Finally, they collapsed. In a small chamber lit only by Liara's faint glow, Ethan's chest heaved. He turned to her. What the hell was that? Liara's silver eyes were tired but steady. Voices of the Veil. Old power. My blood carries it. I can touch minds. Bend them. Ethan shook his head, still breathing hard. You nearly killed them. She lowered her gaze. I tried, but I am too weak. For now. Ethan rubbed his face. He wasn't sure what scared him more, the hunters outside or the power sitting beside him. Before he could speak again, Liara stiffened. She pressed her hand to the ground. More coming. Ethan froze. How do you know? Her voice was a whisper. I hear them. Always. A chill ran down Ethan's spine. She could hear soldiers before they arrived. She could feel their thoughts. That meant they had little time. Suddenly, a new voice echoed through the tunnels. A man's voice, low and mocking. I know you're here, it said. You can run, but you can't hide. Not from me. Liara's hand tightened around Ethan's sleeve. Her eyes glowed in fear. Ethan raised his rifle, but his hands felt heavier than before. Whoever that voice belonged to, it wasn't just another soldier. The trap was closing. The tunnel shook with every echo of the hunter's voice. It was not loud, but it carried power, filling the cracks and shadows like smoke. Ethan gripped his rifle tighter, his pulse hammering in his ears. Liara pressed close to him, her silver glow faint but trembling. She whispered, That one is different. He does not search with machines. He feels me. He follows my blood. Ethan cursed under his breath. This was no ordinary soldier. They had sent someone who knew what she was. The voice came again, smooth and patient. Princess of the Veil, daughter of the Queen, come out. Your people cry for you. Do not hide behind a human. Ethan froze. How did he know Ethan was with her? The tunnel grew colder. Liara trembled. We must run. Ethan nodded. He slung his rifle and pulled her forward. They crawled through the narrow passage, dirt crumbling above their heads. Behind them, footsteps echoed. Slow, steady, hunting. They burst into an open chamber where moonlight spilled through cracks in the ceiling. The ruins above groaned like dying beasts. Ethan scanned for exits. One tunnel led east, another north. Both looked unstable. We go east, Ethan decided. But before they could move, an explosion tore through the wall. The blast threw Ethan to the ground. Dust blinded him. His ears rang. Shapes moved in the smoke. Armored figures. Not human soldiers. Aliens. Tall, sharp-armored mercenaries with glowing blades. Their leader pointed at Liara. There! The princess lives! Ethan dragged Liara behind a slab of stone. Bullets rattled from his rifle, sparks flying as they struck alien armor. The mercenaries hissed, their blades slicing through rubble like paper. Liara clutched her head, whispering strange words. The air filled with whispers again, faint but scattered. One mercenary staggered, clutching his helmet, but the others pressed forward. She was too weak. Ethan fired until his rifle clicked empty. He cursed, throwing the useless weapon aside. He grabbed a jagged pipe from the ground, raising it like a spear. His body screamed with exhaustion, but he stood in front of Liara anyway. The mercenaries closed in, until another explosion ripped through the opposite wall. A massive figure stepped through the fire. His armor was darker than the others, marked with symbols Ethan had never seen. His blade was longer, his stance calm and powerful. The mercenaries hesitated. Then they bowed. Ethan blinked in confusion, but Liara gasped, her silver eyes wide. No, it cannot be. The figure lowered his blade and knelt on one knee before her. His deep voice echoed in the chamber. Princess Liara, at last I have found you. Your people wait. Your throne waits. Come with me. Come. Ethan's heart pounded. He raised the pipe anyway, his body tense. Who the hell are you? The armored giant turned his gaze on Ethan. His eyes glowed faintly beneath his helmet. I am Commander Veyron, sworn to the Queen, sworn to her bloodline. And you, human, are in my way. Liara's breath shook. You served my mother. Yes, Veyron said. And now I serve you. But you cannot stay with this human. Both armies hunt you. Only your people can protect you. Ethan's grip tightened on the pipe. He didn't like this. Everything in Veyron's voice felt wrong. Too calm. Too polished. Liara stepped forward weakly. If you serve me, then prove it. Why come now after the war is lost? Veyron bowed his head. Because your mother may still live. The words hit the chamber like thunder. Ethan stared, stunned. He had seen the Queen's flagship fall. Everyone had. Could she truly still be alive? Liara's lips trembled. Alive? Yes, Veyron said. Taken by humans. Hidden. Suffering. But I can take you to her. Only if you come with me. Ethan's instincts screamed, a trap. It had to be. He stepped between them. You expect us to just trust you? Veyron's glowing eyes narrowed. You? You are nothing. A human soldier who should be my enemy. And yet here you are, clutching the princess like a prize. Why should I not cut you down where you stand? Ethan's voice was steady. Because I'm the one keeping her alive. You want her to reach the Queen? She needs me. You don't. The commander studied him in silence. Then, slowly, he lowered his blade. You are brave. For a human. But brave men die quickly. Choose wisely. Princess, come with me now or stay and be hunted until both of you are ashes. Liara looked between them. Ethan, dirty and bleeding, pipe shaking in his grip. And Veyron, armored and powerful, promising safety and her mother's return. Her voice was soft, trembling. I don't know who to trust. The ground shook. Above them, more explosions. Human soldiers, alien mercenaries, all closing in. Time was running out. Ethan grabbed her arm. Liara, if you go with him, you may never be free. Think. Decide fast. Veyron extended his hand, voice calm. Come, princess. Let me save you. Liara's silver eyes flickered between them. Dust rained from the ceiling. The hunters were almost here, and she had to choose. Dust still drifted from the ceiling. The ruins groaned, ready to collapse at any moment. Outside, distant explosions rumbled like drums of war. But inside the broken chamber, time seemed frozen. Liara stood between two paths. Ethan, the human who had saved her life, and Commander Veyron, the alien warrior who claimed to serve her bloodline. Her silver eyes glowed faintly as she looked from one to the other. Ethan's face was streaked with dirt and sweat, his hands shaking as he gripped the jagged pipe. Veyron stood tall, his armor gleaming in the dim light, blade resting calmly at his side. Two men. Two choices. Her voice trembled. If my mother... Lives. I must find her. Ethan's chest tightened. He stepped closer. Liara, think about this. You don't even know if he's telling the truth. What if this is a trap? Veyron's voice cut through like steel. It is no trap. The Queen is alive, hidden by humans in a secret prison. Would your kind deny it? Of course they would. You humans always twist truth into chains. Ethan's jaw clenched. And you aliens never stop with your games of power. You say you serve her. But I hear control in your voice. You don't want to protect her, you want to use her. Veyron's glowing eyes narrowed. And what of you, human? What use do you have for the princess? You save her, but for what? To keep her as your trophy? To pretend you are noble while your people plan her death? The words hit like knives. Ethan felt anger rise, but also doubt. Why had he saved her? He had told himself it was because she was just a child, innocent. But now, looking at her glowing eyes, her strange powers, he wasn't so sure anymore. Liara stepped forward, raising her hands. Stop, both of you. The glow in her markings pulsed. For a moment, the air grew heavier, as if her very presence carried weight neither man could ignore. She looked at Varen first. You claim to serve me. But why did you wait until now? Why not come sooner when my mother fell? Where were you when our world burned? Varen bowed his head. I fought until the end. When the flagship fell, I searched for survivors. I believed you were gone. Only when whispers spread of a living signal did I know the truth. I came as soon as I could. Then Liara turned to Ethan. And you? Why did you save me? Why risk your life? Ethan's voice cracked, rough from exhaustion. Because you're alive. Because you didn't deserve to die in that pod. I don't care if you're alien or human. You were just a kid in pain. That's all I needed. Liara's breath shook. For a moment, silence ruled. Then softly she said, Both of you want something from me. One speaks of duty, one speaks of mercy, but I want the truth. The ruins shuddered again. Dust fell in clouds. The hunters outside were closer now. The decision could not wait. Varen extended his armored hand. Princess, choose. Your people wait. Ethan held her gaze. He did not reach for her. He only said, Whatever you decide, I'll fight to keep you safe, even if that means against him, or against the world. Liara's silver eyes glistened. Slowly she stepped forward, but not to Varen. She stood beside Ethan. Varen's blade twitched. His voice dropped, cold. You would trust a human over me? Liara's voice was steady now. He may be human, but he saved me when all others left me to die. He asked for nothing. That is why I trust him. For the first time, Varen's calm cracked. His eyes flared and his voice thundered. You are blind, princess. That human will lead you to ruin. Ethan raised the pipe, ready for a fight. But before Varen could strike, the ceiling above gave a violent roar. Stones split apart. Light burst through cracks as the entire chamber began to collapse. The hunters are here, Liara cried. Ethan grabbed her hand. We're moving. The three of them sprinted through a side tunnel. As the chamber fell behind them, walls cracked, fire burst from above, and the sound of soldiers' boots thundered in the distance. They stumbled into the open night. The ruins stretched endless under a cold moon, and across the horizon, fires burned where battles still raged. Varen stepped into their path, blocking them once more. His armor glowed with defiance. This is not over, princess. You belong with your people, and I will not let a human steal you away. Liara's eyes blazed. I belong to no one, not even you. Before Varen could answer, a human dropship roared overhead, sweeping the ruins with blinding spotlights. A voice boomed through the speakers. Target found. All units converge. Dozens of soldiers poured from the dropship. Weapons raised. Ethan cursed. They found us. Liara gripped his arm, her glow pulsing brighter. Then we run. Together. The key. 3 figures, human, princess, and commander, vanished into the night with 2 armies closing in from all sides. The night burned with fire and engines. Searchlights swept across the ruins like white knives chasing shadows. Human soldiers shouted orders as dropships circled above, their guns ready to tear apart anything that moved. Ethan dragged Liara through the rubble, his lungs burning, his legs heavy. Her silver glow pulsed with every step, too bright, too noticeable. He tried to shield her with his body, but against the sky filled with machines, he knew it was not enough. Behind them, Commander Varen moved like a phantom, cutting through soldiers that dared to block the path. His blade shimmered red in the moonlight. He did not fight for Ethan, and Ethan did not fight for him, but for now, survival made them unwilling allies. They stumbled into the mouth of a collapsed tunnel. Ethan pushed Liara inside. The air was damp and thick with dust. The noise of battle outside faded to a dull roar. For a moment there was silence again. Ethan pressed his back to the wall, chest heaving. Liara leaned against him, trembling, her glow dim. She whispered, "They will not stop. They know I live. They will burn every ruin, every city until I am ash." Ethan swallowed hard. He wanted to promise her safety, but the words caught in his throat. He had seen war. Safety was an illusion. Varen stepped into the tunnel, his blade dripping with blood. His eyes glowed faintly in the dark. He looked at Liara and spoke low, his voice carrying weight. "Princess, you must hear the truth. Your mother still breathes." Liara's head jerked up. Her silver eyes widened, tears of shock welling. "No. I saw her ship fall. I felt her mind break." Varen shook his head. Her ship was destroyed, yes, but her body was taken by humans before the final strike. They captured her. She was too valuable to kill. They hold her in a secret prison, beneath the old human cities. Ethan froze. A prison? That meant she had been alive this entire time, suffering, in silence. His fists clenched. Humans had sworn the queen was dead. They had lied, to their soldiers, to their people, maybe even to themselves. Liara's hands trembled. "How do you know this?" Varen's gaze was unflinching. "Because I heard her voice, the whispers of the veil. She still calls to her bloodline, to you. You must feel it too deep inside." Liara's breath caught. She closed her eyes. For a long moment, nothing. Then her body shook and her markings burned brighter. Her lips parted. I hear something. Faint. A cry. A chain. Ethan stepped forward, alarmed. "Liara, stop. Don't push yourself." But she ignored him. Her eyes opened again, glowing, silver white. "She is alive. I feel her pain. They cage her mind. They—" Suddenly she screamed, clutching her head. Ethan grabbed her, holding her tight. "Liara!" Her body shook violently, her glow flickering like lightning. Through clenched teeth she whispered, "They see me. They know I touched her. They are coming." Ethan's stomach turned to ice. Reaching for the queen had exposed them. Varen stepped closer, his voice hard. "You see now. We cannot waste time. We must strike the prison, free her, and end this war." Ethan shot him a glare. "And then what? Put her back on the throne? Start another war?" Varen's eyes narrowed. "Better a war with honor than slavery under humans." Ethan snapped back. "I fought that war. I saw the bodies. Honor doesn't matter when children are burned alive." The tunnel shook with distant explosions. Liara's breathing slowed, but her glow still burned. She pulled herself free of Ethan's arms, standing on unsteady legs. Her voice was quiet but firm. "Enough. Both of you." Ethan and Varen fell silent. Liara's eyes glistened as she looked between them. "I do not know what future waits. I do not know if my mother lives in chains or if her mind is broken. But I must know the truth. I cannot hide anymore. I will find her." Ethan swallowed. His voice softened. "If that's what you want, then I'll see it through. Whatever it takes." Varen nodded once, sharp and certain. "Then it is decided. The prison lies beneath the ruins of your kind's great city. I will lead you there." Ethan narrowed his eyes. He still didn't trust Varen, but Liara's decision was final. The three of them began moving deeper into the tunnel. The walls were damp, the air cold. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the stones. Old alien ruins buried beneath human cities, forgotten by both sides. As they walked, Liara whispered, almost to herself, "Mother, if you are alive, hold on. I am coming." Ethan looked at her, worry tightening in his chest. He had saved her once, but now she was dragging them all into a storm far greater than either army. If the queen truly lived, then the war was not over. It was only beginning again. The old human city loomed like a graveyard. Broken towers jutted from the ground, black against the burning sky. Beneath the ruins, hidden by shadows and silence, lay the prison. Ethan, Liara, and Varen stood before its entrance. A massive steel, gate half buried in rubble. Faint lights glowed from within, cold and mechanical. The air itself seemed to hum with electricity. Ethan's grip tightened on his rifle. His chest was heavy with dread. If she's really in there, they'll guard her with everything they've got. Varen's eyes glowed faintly as he drew his blade. Good. Let them try. Liara said nothing. Her silver markings burned brighter than ever, her eyes fixed on the gate. She whispered, I feel her, so close. Her pain bleeds into me. We must hurry. Before they could move, spotlights blazed to life. Sirens wailed. From the shadows, human, soldiers poured out, rifles raised. At the same time, alien mercenaries emerged from the far side, blades flashing. Both armies had arrived, trapped between two enemies. Ethan cursed under his breath. They've been waiting for us, the soldiers shouted. The mercenaries hissed, guns clicked, blades hummed. Then the first shot rang out. Chaos exploded. Ethan fired into the human line, forcing them back. Varen charged the mercenaries, his blade cleaving through armor and steel. Sparks and blood lit the night. Liara stood in the middle, her glow pulsing. She raised her hands and the whispers returned, louder, sharper, cutting into minds. Soldiers faltered, clutching their helmets. Mercenaries staggered, confused, but the prison's doors were opening. From the darkness stepped a figure. Tall. Weak, but glowing. Chains of light bound her wrists. Her silver eyes blazed with fury even as her body shook. The alien queen. Liara gasped. Tears filled her eyes. Mother. Ethan's chest tightened. The queen was alive, but barely. The soldiers roared. Take them all! The mercenaries screamed. Kill the human! The battlefield became fire. Ethan grabbed Liara's arm. We have to move! But the queen's voice cut through the chaos, strong despite her broken body. Daughter, come. To me? Liara froze, torn. The queen's eyes burned into Ethan. And you, human. You are nothing here. Leave her. This is not your war. Ethan's fists clenched. He had risked everything for Liara, and now the queen looked at him as if he were dirt. Varen pushed forward, bowing deeply. My queen, I have returned to serve. Command me and I will strike down this human. Liara's eyes widened. No! She stepped between them, her glow fierce. Ethan is not my enemy. He saved me. The queen's expression hardened. Saved you? He is human. His kind destroyed. Our worlds. He cannot be trusted. Ethan's voice shook with anger. Maybe you're right. Maybe my kind doesn't deserve trust, but I didn't save her because of war. I saved her because she's alive, because she matters. For a moment, the battlefield seemed to pause. Liara looked between them. Her mother, her protector, and the man who had sworn to serve her. Then the prison shook with a new sound. Another dropship descended, larger, heavier. Its guns locked on the ruins. Over the speakers, a human commander's voice thundered, End this now, kill the queen, kill the daughter. Dozens of soldiers advanced. Varen raised his blade. I will hold them. Take the queen and run, but... The queen lifted her chained hands. Energy crackled in the air, sharp and dangerous. She still had power. Too much power. Liara's voice broke. Mother, stop. You'll destroy yourself. The queen's eyes burned with fire. Better to burn than to bow, the air screamed with energy. Soldiers and mercenaries alike froze, caught in her growing storm. Ethan's heart pounded. If she unleashed it, the prison, the city, everything would vanish in fire. Liara, too, he shouted. Liara, you have to choose. Stand with her, or stop her. Tears streamed down her face. Her mother's eyes begged for loyalty. Ethan's eyes begged for trust. Her markings flared like stars, and then she screamed. A wave of silver light burst from her, slamming into both armies. Guns cracked, blades shattered. The queen's storm faltered, her chains glowing brighter as Liara's power clashed against hers. Daughter, the queen roared. What are you doing? Liara's voice shook but held strong. I will not let you burn the world again. Enough war, enough death. The queen staggered, her power breaking. For the first time, fear flashed in her eyes. Ethan pulled Liara back as the light consumed the battlefield. Soldiers fled, mercenaries scattered. Veyron dropped to his knees, stunned. When the glow faded, silence fell. The queen lay collapsed, her chains still binding her, her power broken. She stared at her daughter, disbelief in her eyes. You chose them, she whispered. Liara knelt beside her. I chose life. The queen's eyes closed. Her body went still. Whether dead or only unconscious, Ethan could not tell. Liara wept, quietly, her glow dim. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. You did what you had to. You stopped her. And saved us all. She looked up at him, her silver eyes filled with pain. But at what cost? My people will call me traitor. The humans will still call me enemy. Where do I belong now? Ethan met her gaze, steady. With me. Wherever this path leads, we walk it together. Liara's tears fell, but a small, broken smile touched her lips. She nodded. As dawn broke over the ruins, Ethan and Liara stood side by side. No longer just soldier and alien princess, but something more. The war was not over, but a new story had begun.